Back for the third day in a row. Probably my best streak yet. I doubt it's going to be sustainable at all, but honestly, after the sort of roller coaster of emotions that we've been subjected to up until this point, kind of starting with chapter 4, really starting from the beginning, but it's gotten really, it's been a real up and down ride since then, or since that point in chapter 4. Honestly, I haven't really been able to stop thinking about it. I know, I'm just gonna keep putting it off because there's definitely a sort of, emptiness that I'll probably feel when all this is over. Not only because, I am sort of dreading, the ending of this series, but also, we'll have to wait another 2 years before the next and final game comes out in this series. Which will kind of answer the question of how did Innocent Gray want to wrap this all up, you know? Anyway, hey David, nice to see you hopping in the stream today. Oh nice, yeah. I would like to think that probably quite a jump to go from the OSD of that game to this, but yeah, we're going to start chapter 6. I assume you got caught up, given the comments that you left on the last video, so... and it seems like from what you were saying, this is the last chapter, which makes me doubly nervous, I suppose. But, man... like I said, there's no use in putting it off this far. Okay, yeah, so how much do you want to know, do you want to be filled in on, as far as, what actually happened, moving forward? I guess I can just, you'll probably get the general gist of it when we start playing through, so it's not really that big of a deal. But yeah, I agree in that, a lot of enjoyment and the most interactive part of these games is solving the mysteries yourself, so... let's just stop beating around the bush and jump into it. How about? Well, Narine made a very similar comparison at the end of last chapter, so... peas in a pod. It's been 4 years, huh? Yeah, I imagine it's probably around the same time for me. You will not get a reaction on screen because... I predict anyway, because... more likely I'm just going to feel really empty and hollow if this game ends badly, you know? And I won't really know how to sort of articulate that, so it's probably just gonna be me staring dumbfounded for about 20 minutes before I even say anything. I'm looking forward to it. That is if this is as bad as people say, so.
大丈夫ですか？お疲れではありませんか？
何？疲れてなんかいないさ。疲れているなら君たちだろ。立花君や。
But yeah, given the pace of this, how the length of these chapters, the average length, and I can't imagine we're gonna be done today. So we'll probably have to pick it back up on Tuesday and finish, and I'll probably 100% be done by next week. I guess if it takes like 2 or 3 more videos, it's a different matter entirely, but if this is the last chapter, which is kind of maybe, not really sure. Oh yeah, I mean, I kind of put myself in that tiny window at the bottom there for a reason. Don't really want my face to take up like 50% of the screen, so I'll keep that in mind.
スオ君の方が選挙演説で疲れただろうからね。
私は半数の賛成票を得れば良いのですから、そこまでは。スオさんは大変だったようですけど。
見事ニカイアの会の会長となった。
Seems like we've skipped ahead quite a bit.
ニカイアの会会長に立候補しました白羽スオです。私がニカイアの会の会長に立候補した理由は、春入学したての私を現ニカイアの会会長八代ゆずりはさんが導いてくれたことです。
Hopefully, yeah. Wasn't that what Yuzu promised? Though I was saying, I would not be surprised if like the game kind of presented it as like Yuzu passes that information on to Suo or whatever, and we are kind of left in the dark about it still. I mean, this mystery has been building up for 2 games now, and approximately 4 years on our end, so I think it would make sense for them to draw it out a little bit, but you know, we'll see.
八代会長が目指していた学院運営を引き継ぐ形で、ある程度のリファインを行いたいと考えています。その上で3つの公約をお約束します。今述べた公約は、今までのニカイアの会の運営とそれほどの違いはありません。
Well, honestly, as it stands right now, it seems like every possible relationship in this game kind of warrants more exploration than what we've gotten so far. So if there is like a necessary extra scene, or even just like stuff we can kind of glean by playing the other routes, it might be worthwhile to go and play those too. Actually, well, 1, actually play those, and 2, upload them, because I kind of dropped the ball on that with the previous game, you know. In hindsight, and you know, from what you've told me, it seems like there wasn't that much to sort of pick apart there, but still, in this game, I mean, the characters kind of deserve that, I think. that extra angle.
ですが、一つ一つ先達の思いをつなげ、より良くしていきたいと考えています。 私は、とある理由から友人と言える者がいませんでした。ですから、アミティエ制度のあるこの聖アングレカム学院へと入学することを決めたのです。はじめは不安でたまりませんでした。内気な私が友人を作れるのか、打ち解けられるのかと。ですが、八代会長、小見門副会長ともに気にかけてもらい、会の行事を共に過ごすことで、クラスの皆とも打ち解けることができました。それは、私を支え、受け入れてくれたアミティエのおかげです。アミティエの花火師立花さんは、慈しみを持って私を受け入れてくれました。そして今、副会長に立候補して支えてくれようとしている。もう一人のアミティエ、高坂真由里さんは、私はここにいてもいいのだと教えてくれました。私は、この聖アングレカム学院を皆にとっての故郷としたい。卒業しても良い思い出として、辛い時に思い出し、心温める、羽を休める場として。どうか、皆の大切な故郷を守る席を、私に与えてくれないでしょうか。
Hey, how's it going? We're hopefully coming up on the end here. Well, hopefully, and also not very much so, because I don't know what the heck this chapter has planned for us. She went for the emotional approach, I suppose. And the personal anecdote has paid off. It's definitely backed up by what we saw during our time spent in her head as the main character. So, I actually went back and watched a little bit of Volume 1 and some of those, like, sort of landmark scenes, and yeah, she really has come a long way. You know, the old Suo would have been balked at the idea of standing up in front of a crowd of people like that, much less swaying everyone's opinion, but I think given where she started, is like, yeah, she was unapproachable for a different reason. You know, people kind of mistook her anxiety as, like, either like an unwillingness to open up and socialize, or just like, you know, it was too difficult to get through to her. But yeah, that's you want to look at character development right there, you know. And we still have one game left, so it's not even over yet.
私に対する宣戦布告だ。いや、演説会でのことを思い返していたのさ。なかなか堂に入った演説だった。
Seriously? That's really interesting though, what you just said now. I mean, to like say that one of your close friends and beloved underclassmen is your enemy in pitched combat. It's really something, huh? Hi! Not really sure what she means though. I mean, obviously you can probably connect that to like Yuzu telling her that she has like knowledge to pass on, and like this is kind of her battle, quote unquote, to gain that knowledge. But I don't know, like her saying that like it's a declaration of war against me is really, it feels really insidious.
君の演説も素晴らしかった。副会長になるのも難しいのによく成し遂げたね。
I mean, it could also be a reference to, like what Yuzu did with her presidency. She, like, we don't really know that much about, like, how she approached it, or, like, how she, like, viewed the school in context to her presidency. She always talked about it in terms of, like, oh, how's this, how do Nerine and I work together as, like, you know, president and vice president. And every time she talks about it, she just kind of talks about it like work. Like, oh, you know, I'm good at it, but... Well, she never signed up for it in the first place, obviously. She ran for it, and I guess through some stroke of luck, or whatever you want to call it, she got the job, so... I don't know. I mean, maybe it's a reference like, oh, maybe Suo sees like Yuzu didn't do a lot with like either her presidency or like the knowledge that she was given about the school, and she got the job. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's some evidence towards that, for that though, especially in that scene just last chapter when Suo goes into her bedroom and says, Nerine is just like Mayuri, why won't you help her? There's a lot of ways to interpret that, and I think yeah, I mean, we don't, like, a lot of the possible interpretations is probably stuff that we'll talk about, like, later. Because right now, I am kind of at a loss of how to interpret that line. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's heavily implied. I mean, it's not implied, it's explicitly said that Yuzu, like, oh, you'll find out more about your lost anime partner who disappeared, you know?
1年生はみんな入れてくれるだろうし、私はクラブの付き合いがありましたから。
Considering this series' affinity for cliffhangers, I wonder if we're even gonna find out in this game.
リッカ君はバレエ発表会での演技がみんなの目を引きつけたのかもしれないね。何せこの学院はバレエは必須科目だ。1目も2目も置かれる。
バレエで役職が決まるのでしたら高崎さんが会長ですよ。
高崎くんが会長だとすると必然的に副会長は八重垣くんか。独裁政権が目に見えるようだ。
公約は食堂で昼だけのメニューの選択を夕食にも適用させるとかですかね。
Oh yeah, totally.
そこは図書室での現代小説を増やすとかじゃないか？
楽しそうですね。
Oh wow, chat just caught up all at once. Look at that. It seems like I have to toggle it off and on every time I start a stream, so that's fun. It's a little bit finicky in that regard. And of course it makes the chat look more populated than it actually is, so there's that. But of course I appreciate both of you who always stop by. You know, it's great to chat about this awesome series.
今、八重垣くんと高崎くんの公約について話していてね。
公約？エリカさんのですか？
冗談でのお話よ。
羨ましい婚約なんて。
Erica would never, though. It's too much work. Like, she would think it's too much work for not enough reward or what have you.
いや、私欲に走ったっておかしくはない。大義名分があればいいのさ。
大義名分ですか？
そうさ、スオー君の公約の中に図書に関することがなかったのが意外だって思っていたところだよ。
思いつかなかったです。
私事すぎてかい？君は誠実だね。
いえ、学院のために役立つことを考えていて。それで、その。
Yeah, same. Felt that.
八代先輩、約束覚えていますよね。
I don't know, these both deflect the question. Well, one, yeah, as in they feign ignorance as to what she was talking about. I mean, she can talk about it in front of Rika or Narine, probably, but I don't see how, I don't see how these two are much different, so let's just pick one for the heck of it. I guess it worked out. Plot twist, the secret that you learn as student council president is you get to take a bath with the next student council president.
ああ、
でしたら、
一緒にお風呂に入る約束だろ？これから行こうじゃないか。
先輩。
すまないね、スオ君。約束はもう少し待ってもらえないか。いや、そいつは間違っていない。聡明なスオ君のことだ。あの文言から学院の謎に近づくことになるだろう。
Yeah, there's definitely an implication there that Tsuo is not going to like what she finds, and Tsuo is obviously doing it with the intention of getting Mayuri to come back, but if Tsuo doesn't like what she finds, or the truth isn't something that she wants to hear, then yeah, I mean, you can kind of put two and two together there, right?
Yatsuro senpai?
なんだい？見つめ合ったことで嫉妬したのかな？
違います。そうじゃありません。庶務の方がお呼びしていますよ。
すまないね。少し外させてもらうよ。
お話中にすみません。ですが、そろそろ差し迫った案件を片付けないと。
案件？
しっかりしてくださいよ。12月まではまだ私たちが執行役員なんですからね。
If it's already winter, and they're in charge till the end of December, that means probably 2 weeks left in the year. Soon, something like 10 days, something like that. Yeah, I'm sure she can, but, well, frankly, I'm approaching that with like no small sense of trepidation. I really hope not. And also that would mean that I cannot post Volume 4 gameplay on YouTube. So let's cross our fingers that that's not the case. How about? Seriously. I joked that like this school is a cult, but I really hope that's not the case.
Ah, そうだった。月末にはお楽しみの行事が残ってる。前年度のノエルも素晴らしかった。今年はそいつを超えないとな。な、ネリー。エッグノックの早飲み大会なんてのも面白いかもしれないな。ネリー。
そうね。それがいいと思うわ。
裸でシャンパンを浴びるのは？
何を？
冗談だよ。エッグノックの話さ。ネリー好きだったろ？ホイップクリームをトッピングにしたのが好物だった。
そうね。
副会長？
ごめんなさい。お二人で話してもらえるかしら。
心ここにあらずという言葉を抜き出して擬人化したらああなるっていう見本みたいだったな。
私たちが犯人扱いしたからでしょうか。
So this is the last chapter. Alright, good to know. Well, even if I get it wrong, I can always just hit the previous button. Yeah, honestly, yeah, Narinate is, we learned last chapter that she kind of hates herself for how the whole situation in last chapter unfolded, piled on top of, you know, her guilt or whatever, as to how she's handled her relationship with Yuzu up until this point. Also, that is kind of, you know, I was talking before about, like, oh, I want to see some really, you know, cathartic or confrontational scenes between those two, because, like, there's still, like, there's obviously still, like, these, like, unaddressed things between them, even though they made up, like, you know, Narine feels awkward around here for obvious reasons. And, I mean, I don't know. I guess I wanted more than what it seems like we're gonna get, but...
そいつは違う。博愛主義者の我が副会長様が疑われたくらいであんな態度になるわけがない。
On the other hand, we can go for pretty long stretches without making a choice, so there is a correlation between the amount of choices and how long the chapters or whatever, but we'll see.
なら
ショムのこと話していた時は何ともなかった。どうしたって言うんだ、ネリー。
as of right now, things are even more complicated because she is, I think she's still dating Ringo. Yeah, I mean, if we're this close to the end, I might as well know how much longer I have to go. I have a general idea.
automne では、私の歌をなぞるように歌唱してみてください。
Man, I was too in shambles to do that. I was like, I don't want to think about it.
「少し席を外します。」
あからさまだったものな。あの時も。ここの音階だが。
ごめんなさい。他の方に聞いて。
ノエルを前にいつも以上に気合が入っているね。歌声に胸が震えるよ。
Yeah, I mean, earlier, like if this was like a couple chapters earlier, I probably would have assumed that, you know, the I'm straight, I swear part of Narine's personality is coming out, but after spending a little bit more time in her head, I wonder if that's her. Like, I'm inclined to think that is not her primary motivation or reasoning behind why she feels so uncomfortable. And, like, doesn't want to face Yuzu for kind of the second time in as many chapters.
かかとを3回鳴らして助けてもらいたいよ。
何を助けてほしいのですか？
オズの魔法使いだよ。聞いたことがないかい？かかとを3度鳴らす。
読んだことがあります。でも銀の靴は確か故郷に帰るための方法ですよね。
今かかとを鳴らしても助けに来てくれる者はいない。
八代先輩？
ちゃんと聞いているよ。だが僕にも答えたくない質問もある。
Alright, good to know. We're in this for better or for worse. Emotionally, like, maybe I will emotionally be worse off after the end of this game, but
とギクシャクしているのなんて周知の事実だな。
コミカド先輩と喧嘩でもしたんですか？
Okay. David, you said there's one choice left, huh? I mean, I feel like this is actually closer to the truth, since I know I shouldn't be picking this apart so much because we can just go back, and this is probably the last choice we'll have to make in this game, but like Narine herself said in last chapter, like, oh, I, like, after Yuzu got with someone else because I rejected her, or right after I rejected her, like, now, like, I'm jealous, you know? But like this isn't, like, despite how harshly she was rejected and also smacked, I don't think I don't think it is. Okay. Okay, yeah, I mean, like I said, this is obviously like choosing between one of these two, right? But sure, you know. Yeah, I mean, you have no reason to lie to me, David, right? Since I can just go back and pick.
Ah, 大喧嘩になったよ。
そんな、どうして？
夜、僕の部屋に呼び出してベッドに押し倒したのがまずかったみたいだ。
Good one, Yuzu, but that is not too far from the truth of what actually happened.
ムード作りを怠った罰だ。ガツガツしすぎて嫌われたかな。
嘘だ、嘘ですね。
君は本当にからかいがいがあるね。結局のところ僕が悪いのだろうね。鈍感で心の機微に疎い。だから怒らせてしまう。
そんな、八代先輩は紳士ですよ。お世辞じゃないですよ。先輩は気遣いのできる紳士です。私やスオさんも何度も助けてもらいました。
そうかな。偽善者として優しく振る舞っているだけかもしれないよ。
優しくないなんて、そんなこと。
悪魔は紳士風と相場は決まっている。すまない。意地悪だったね。だが確かに今更だな。懺悔したい気分だ。
Don't fall back into your old ways, Yuzu. What's all that character development for, quote unquote? If you do.
元ネタはフランスのことわざだったか。
Oh, do you mean like the like the drama CDs and stuff? That would be pretty awesome. And yes, I would definitely like an update.
そもそも成功したらという話だ。ネリー。
Honestly, that's pretty good news. You know, all the support for this game goes a long way.
こんなに胸が切なくなるなんて。
That painfully realistic outcome, I think. Well, let's see if she goes into detail about it, because we have plenty of fodder to use there. Honestly, I talked at the end of last chapter about how like it's very ironic for Yuzu to like talk about, oh yeah, it's really easy for me to parse people's intentions or what they're really thinking. You know, she uses that phrase a lot, the windows of their eyes, right, quote unquote. But when it comes to Narine, it seems like she has just straight up been deceived, or has crafted this idea in her head that Narine is much better than she actually is. And I kind of threw out the idea that like she does know, like kind of like what Narine is capable of, I suppose, or mostly that like she's too hard on herself, and that like her like kind of being stuck in the past leads her to think that she'll always be like, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, you know, selfish, enjoys playing with people, manipulative, like uses her kind of persona as a nice girl to her advantage, and like I kind of threw out the idea that Yuzu is aware of all that and kind of just, you know, doesn't see it as a deal breaker, I guess. I think it's tough to say, because on one hand I think Narine is too hard on herself, but on the other hand I think like her mindset like actively prevents her from like moving past that, you know. With that with those like few passages right there, it seems like like on the surface it seems like it's the former, like Yuzu really just doesn't know, or she's so blinded by her feelings for Narine that she just doesn't know, right? But she doesn't really list off like she only lists like a couple of like surface level shortcomings here and not all of them, so it's still kind of, I don't know, I want to give her credit, but this relationship is kind of difficult to like reconcile, because it seems like on the surface that the relationship is based off of like these false images that they have of each other, you know. I don't know, like like as we keep going, I'm less and less sure that we're actually going to address any of that.
うわっ、やってしまった。
もうちょっと早く声をかけるべきでしたね。
いや、大惨事にはならずに済んだ。ありがとう、いちごくん。
But yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what you two think of that, but well, to grossly oversimplify, it is pretty complicated. Just I have my doubts as to whether this game is willing to tackle all of that.
卵焼きを作っていたんですね。
By spacing out for like 5 minutes, I guess.
先輩、うまく作れないみたいだからリンゴが教えてあげなよ。失敗したのは卵焼きですね。違うよ、オムレツだって。言われてみればオムレツですね。そういえば私、オムレツと卵焼きの違いって知らないかも。リンゴ知ってる？確か物の本には明確な違いは半熟かそうでないかと書いてありましたね。じゃあ半熟の卵焼きと完熟のオムレツの違いは？味付けですかね。
私がリンゴへ声をかけても不穏な空気になることもなくなった。これを見越して鐘楼のルーガルー事件を起こしたとするならば、認識を改めないとな。
ゆずりは先輩、そんなに焦がしたことがショックだったんですか？
いや、なんというか、どうやって食べようかなと思ってね。
さすがにもう食べられないですよ。いえ、でもケチャップをたっぷり振れば、あるいは
少しホッとするな。隠し事を。
何ですか？
いや、なんでも。
そういえば料理部でクリスマスのお料理を用意するんですよね。先輩はどんな料理が作りたいですか？
そうだね、手軽に作れる軽食がいいかな。
軽食？それじゃあサンドイッチとかですか？
料理下手な僕でもなんとかできそうだしね。
私としては生ハムとアボカドのオープンサンドが好きです。
僕はサンドイッチなら何でも好きだ。規制はない。ただしツナサンドは除く。ま、そりゃ怒るよな。
先輩？
せっかくだからオムレツの作り方を教えてもらおうかな。
いいですよ。でも
スオちゃんでなくていいんですか？そうだ、先輩にとって料理の師匠ですものね。スオちゃんと何かあったのですか？
It's more like what didn't happen.
とある事情から約束を一つ保護にしてね。僕が悪いのさ。
約束、私的に誤解を解くよう話してきましょうか？
こればかりは僕が自分で話をつける。大丈夫だよ。ありがとう。
でも
理由は話せないが、スオ君にしたら僕が嘘をついたようなものだからね。
嘘。
Yeah, I mean, Suo's had it pretty rough throughout this series. And it's basically a given that she wouldn't have run if like Yuzu didn't like tempt her with that information, you know. So yeah, I mean, you can't really side with Yuzu here, even though she does have her reasons, I guess, reasons that she will not disclose.
どうしたらいい？どうしたらいい？コミカドネリネと私は分かちがたくつながっている。
Not a main focus of this game, I suppose.
すみません、バスキア教諭。
なぜ謝るのです？
余計な手間をかけさせてしまった。
何か悩んでいることがあるのですね。
Wow, I felt that.
悩んでいることなんてありませんよ。
罪の意識で進行を妨げてはなりません。私に黙っていると約束したのに、口にしたことを心苦しく思っているのですね。
約束を破ってすみません。親友の疑いを晴らすためにはどうしようもなかったのです。
構いません。彼女も黙ってもらっていたことに心苦しさを感じていたでしょう。優しさからとはいえ、規則を自ら破ってしまったのですから。
だが部屋に招待してくれない者は信用できない。ありがとうございます。 心の使いは取れました。では。
他にも懺悔したいことがおありなのでしょう。
僕と似ているか。
八代さん？
バスキア教諭は誰かを真剣に愛したことはありますか？
I remember in chapter 1 of this game, like you get a choice whether to ask her either that or like how she feels about homosexual relationships. I opted for the more personal question, but it ended up not being right. But I think that is pretty interesting that it actually comes back around and ends up being like a natural part of the game anyway. I guess in the first chapter it wasn't at the right time.
この人のためなら身を投げ打ってもいいと思える人です。
私には神がおられます。八代さんは？
いいのです。これは自分で答えを出さなくてはならない問題でした。おかしな質問をしてすみません。
Yeah. I actually went back to that scene in volume 1, chapter 4, where Suo goes to the secret lake with Dahlia sensei. Honestly, I should have gotten a better read on it because yeah, I mean, I feel like that scene was like, you know, they got off on the wrong, like Suo and Dahlia sensei get off on the wrong foot. They had like a weird relationship from the beginning. And I mean, I feel like I remember playing that scene and like it's not super, my recollection isn't super accurate or anything, but I feel like that scene was where like my mistrust of Dahlia sensei started. I mean, it's obvious that she's hiding a lot, like not just in regards to her past. Like it's pretty explicitly stated there that like, yeah, you know, she wanted to answer in the affirmative, but she's a woman of the clergy, she can't do that. Is a chaste Christian woman, you know, blah blah blah. Like we still know so little about her, and like even as far as like figures of authority go in this game, whereas like Dahlia sensei was a pretty big was like a pretty like important part of volume 2 because, you know, she was in charge of like Erica's caretaker basically. Here she's kind of been replaced by the dorm mother, who coincidentally she's on a first name basis with. So that's interesting. Also, I don't really understand why like the dorm mother, who is like a really like been referred to multiple times, is like still a faceless and voiceless figure in this game. I feel like that's an odd creative choice unless she's hiding something, you know? I don't know. Maybe Yuzu being so close with her, as in like being able to pretty, you know, easily talk to her, she's very easily accessible, has something to do with that, you know? I don't know, I could speculate all day. It's fun to think about, but you know, you could easily chalk that up to, what's the word? Like, the game just didn't have a budget, and they couldn't hire the, okay, so she does have, like, she's not just, like, this mysterious figure. I was hoping that would be the case, but still, you know, it's a strange, like, creatively, and from, like, a writing standpoint, it's a weird choice. Not weird as in bad, it's just weird as in it makes you think. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, well, I haven't talked about this. I haven't talked about this since probably the beginning of the game. But just like from a character design point, Narine could be Dahlia's like much younger sister or like her daughter or something. I don't know how old Dahlia sensei is, but like their character designs are similar enough that like, okay, you know, they look like they could be related. I feel like it goes beyond that though, and I've already talked about this, but you know, Yuzu's line in the chapel when she was like, oh, Narine can't fall in love with anyone, either that's a reference to like, oh, Yuzu is aware of Narine's true nature, or I think what's more likely and kind of more heartbreaking if you think about it is Narine plans to join the clergy, a lot like Dahlia sensei is. And so I've been thinking like since this game started that Narine is like, Narine and Dahlia sensei are supposed to represent these like diverging life paths, whereas Dahlia committed to was in love with someone at some point, but decided to cast that away in favor of like following a life of faith. Narine is probably in a similar situation. I don't know if she actually does plan to join the clergy, but that would kind of explain part of it. You know, I mean, the rest of it is like she's a terrible person and she feels guilt over that. I still love you, Narine, but you make it pretty damn hard, you know. Anyway, this little comparison here makes it pretty obvious, I think, and I think it's a fun thought experiment, you know. And I do think it was intentional by the designers and the writers of this game. Maybe that's not what's the word? Maybe that's not what actually happens, but yeah. But yeah, I think like we are kind of supposed to take that as a hint, you know, as like as a possible outcome.
愚かだな。
I mean, hopefully they don't do some Avengers Endgame type stuff. Do some time traveling. I think that would not fit.
Ah, そうだ。
写真お好きなのですね。
高崎くん。
あ、お邪魔してしまいましたか？
いや、なんとなしに眺めていただけだよ。八重垣くんに図書を借りてやるのかい？
今日は私が読みたい本を選ぼうと思って。
アミティエとの趣味を合わせるために。
Oh no. You know, you're saying Flowers predicted the plot of Avengers Infinity War like 2 years or however long ago before it came out. Yeah, I'm looking forward to those fight scenes personally.
八重垣くんは幸せ者だな。
八代先輩は本を選ばないのですか？図書室でカメラをいじっているって。 白羽さんの当番じゃないですしね。
カメラで学院を撮っていて、ここへは少し休憩に寄っただけだよ。今は本を読む気分じゃない。
そうなんですか。八代先輩がカメラを好きだってなんだからしい感じですよね。
らしい。
なんというか八代先輩って芸術家気質に思えるし、女流写真家みたいで。
実は初めは写真を撮ることが好きではなかったんだ。
それではなぜカメラを手に取ったんですか？
母の存在だよ。
お母さんのですか？お母さんが写真を撮るのが好きで自分もとか？
That is probably how Chidori would see it, honestly. Since her relationship with her parents was, she did things to get their attention, you know. One way to do that was to be into things that they were into. Poor Chidori. She also, probably had the most complete and fastest, character growth out of everyone. We knew it took 6 chapters of headaches to get there. Oh, Chidori.
母は写真が嫌いだった。撮るのも撮られるのも、ポートレートも家族写真すら1枚も残してない。
それじゃあ娘だったら撮られることに抵抗が少ないだろうから八代先輩がお母さんを撮ることにしたとか？
いや、母は幼い頃に亡くなった。写真を撮るようになったのはその後だ。母の思い出は僕の頭の中だけだ。でもそんなのってないだろ。普通後に残される娘に1枚くらい残してくれるものじゃないか。
Yeah, I don't blame you. I kind of like veer towards that end as well.
八代先輩、
僕が写真を撮るのはね、僕自身がここに確かにいたってことを少しでも残しておきたいからなんだ。湿っぽい話をしてしまったね。
いえ、八代先輩のことが知れて嬉しかったです。
高崎くん、
八代先輩も告白してくれたから話しますけど、私この学院が嫌いだったんです。
閉鎖的だから？
そうでなく、両親と離れてしまうのが嫌だったんです。両親は仕事人間で当たり前の家族ということができない人たちだったんです。
ないがしろにされていた？
以前はそう思っていました。だから両親の目を引きたくて芸能の世界に入り、バレエで有名になろうとしたんです。
なのにこの学院へ転入させられた。
ええ、初めは失敗をしてしまった私を落胆し、どうでもよくなったのかって。だから早く病気を治して学院を出る、それだけを考えていました。
It's all good. Well, I think it's a little bit more like Erica kind of like stuck around through all of her like BS, we'll call it, as in like her refusal to open up, her like stating that she didn't care for people, and she was only there, like as she said, to like perform well and get out of there. I think it's more like a show of maturity on her part, that like her wish to only like do ballet to please her parents was kind of, you know, there are other joys in life, as cliche as that sounds, but I do think that Chidori found that in Volume 2. Which at the moment seemed like the most like complete and like singular game in the series, because it was wrapped up pretty neatly, or as Erica and Chidori go, and even in this game you can see that the relationship is like, you know, pretty good, you know, for the time being. Yeah.
でもこの学院で朗読劇やバレエ発表会、たくさんの出来事を経て考え方が変わったんです。
Oh well, don't take my word for it, take hers.
両親はきっと病を治した上で私に普通の学院生活を送ってもらいたかったんだって。
八重垣くんは君の守護天使なんだね。
はい。
ねえ高崎くん、どうしても手に入れたいものが2つあったらどうする？
それなら両方。
片方しか手に入らないとしてだ。
それはどちらにも優劣はつけられないんですよね。価値は同じという前提ですよね。
優劣？
私はどちらかを必ず選ばないといけないとなったら迷いません。自分の心に従います。
それで選ばれなかった方が損なわれたとしても、
私の好きなあの子の言葉を借りるなら、誰にでもいい顔なんてできないということだと思います。
You know, I wonder if she means, I mean, considering her current relationship troubles, I wonder if she means, it seems like she means either like continuing her relationship with Ringo or coming clean with Narine and potentially, you know, sabotaging her relationship with Ringo in the process. But I wonder if she also maybe means like coming clean with Narine and like breaking her promise or keeping her promise with Suo, because yeah, I mean, because like there's a lot, she actually has like a lot of conflicts going on right now, and her breaking her promise with Suo was still weighing heavily on her mind. So I wonder if those two are related somehow. Like, I don't know, I can't stop thinking about what Suo had said at the end of the last chapter, where she was like, you know, Nerine is Mayuri, why won't you help her? I wonder if that means, you know, if Nerine does fall in love with someone, as Yuzu like claimed that she couldn't earlier on in this game, that means she has to leave the academy, you know? But yeah, obviously her relationship with Ringo is at a turning point here as well. I wonder what she chooses.
一歩を踏み出すのは誰でも怖い。でも踏み出さなかったらずっと同じ場所でとどまってしまう。それは選ぶ側も選ばれる側も損なわれる行為ではないでしょうか。
悩むよりも行動せよか。思っているまま抱えているといずれ心が腐り落ちてしまう。綺麗に撮るよ。
汚いものを美しく撮ることはできますけど、美しいものを汚くは撮れませんよ。
Oh boy, here we go. You ready, David? I'm not ready. Oh, this chapel is cursed, I swear. So many pivotal moments happening here, and most of them for the worse up until this point. Honestly, I'm nervous. Yeah, it's pretty important, huh? Alright, well, sort of tender OST and quality CG calms me down a little bit, but I'm not looking forward to this, I swear. I think it's probably like 2 cups of coffee I had this morning. I probably should have stopped at 1, but my anxiety does not like that.
味見はしたのだけど、自分の舌は信用ならないからね。
譲り葉先輩の勧めるものは全部美味しいですよ。
そう言ってくれるとありがたい。正しい道を指し示してくれる我が師はもうない。
譲り葉先輩？
アーモンドを入れたのは正解だった。
クリスマス会楽しみですね。
ニカイアの会の会長として最後の仕事だ。学院のみんなが楽しめるノエルにするさ。
みんなが？
ああ。
You know, I'm gonna start calling it that. Bean juice. That's pretty. That's pretty great.
「紅茶の方が良かったかな」。
いえ、そうではないんです。
Also, what Narine said when coffee what soothes the mind. Yeah, she's full of crap. That just makes you more anxious, like I am right now. Maybe they're drinking decaf. You know, you get the really like fragrant aroma without all the downsides of a caffeine overdose or overload. I am unfortunately getting the worst of it right now.
何か思い悩んでいることがあるのかい？
譲り葉先輩、シェーラザードって知っていますか？
Oh, that's funny. That's a good reference, honestly. I probably would not have gotten that if like I had played this like a couple months ago.
アラビアンナイト。千夜一夜物語の語り手だろ。寝物語を聞かせる。
In exchange for her life.
はい。私、シェーラザードのことをずっとシェラザードだって思い込んでいたんです。私、そういう思い込みが多いんです。
Is that how Charizard is pronounced in Japanese? If so, that's pretty great.
アボカドをアボガドだとずっと思い込んでいたり。私はこうあるべきだって思い込んだらそうとしか見えないんです。だから私は身を引いてくれた。もっと目が苦しくて。いっぱい責めて。でも許してくれて。 悪くないのに。
君は何も悪くないよ、いちごくん。
私がリンゴへ辛く当たったから。私が勝手に取られた気になって、だからリンゴもあんな提案をして、私は受け入れて。
Yeah, sorry, David. No explicit swearing in chat. I'm trying to keep it family friendly as possible. But
彼女たちと会うことで胸のモヤモヤに蓋をしていたのは自分だ。
リンゴはこれで一緒だねって笑ってくれて。でも本当は笑えるはずない。お姉ちゃんなのに本当は最初から応援してあげなくちゃいけないのに。
君は何も悪くない。いちごくんは何も悪くない。君が不実だと謝るなら僕こそ謝らなければならない。人というのは時折醜い顔を覗かせることがある。そいつがない人間なんていないんだ。バスキや教諭だって僕だって悪しき心を持っている。そいつを野放しにしている方が楽だ。
私は自分勝手に振る舞って。
だが楽な方へ流れず悪しき心を押しとどめたじゃないか。安穏だった今を変えるというのは強い決意がなければならない。でも妹のためにこのままじゃいけないって思ったんだろう。それはすごいことなんだ。
でも私は騙して。
騙されてたからってなんだ。僕は君を許す。神でも競技的意味合いでもない八代譲り派として。
ごめんなさい。譲りは先輩ばかり大変な目に辛い目に遭わせて。
She's too good for this world, honestly. If you want to talk about self-sacrificing, the amount of like putting like someone else before you in that sense, man. I'm gonna talk about it more, obviously, when the scene is over, but let's just let it play out. Why don't we? I think they deserve that.
いいんだ。僕はそういう星回りに生まれたんだよ。それに、いちごくんとの蜜月は僕にとっても宝物だ。リンゴの元へ行こう。
譲りや先輩。
父も私や母と暮らすためにさまざまな取捨選択を繰り返した。行こう。
I just want to keep going, honestly. I don't think this is over.
すべて話してしまったのですね。いいんですよ。すべてわかっているです。
Well, I'm glad. She deserves it.
僕は彼女を許した。君もだ。
Honestly, like I thought how that scene would go. Ugh, no, we're not done with it yet. We'll see if it actually happens. So, just a little bit longer.
譲りや先輩。
僕は決めなくちゃいけない。そのためにここへ来た。
リンゴは譲りや先輩が思っているよりもあなたのことを思っているんです。だから
ごめん。
なんで決めたの。
I think we disconnected for a second there. Are we good? Just want to make sure before we go forward, obviously. Says we're good. Okay. Thanks.
譲り葉先輩がちゃんと自分の心の声に従ったことが嬉しいんです。かわいそうだからって私を選ぶんじゃないかって思っていたから。
Yeah, like 5. Like I can't play back, but I can kind of scroll through them.
僕は決めなくちゃいけない。そのためにここへ来た。
リンゴは譲り葉先輩が思っているよりもあなたのことを思っているんです。だから
ごめん。
なんで決めたのですね。
あ
あ、よかった。
Alright, I think we're all caught up now, yeah?
譲り葉先輩がちゃんと自分の心の声に従ったことが嬉しいんです。かわいそうだからって私を選ぶんじゃないかって思っていたから。私が好きな譲り葉先輩は今の譲り葉先輩なんですよ。
僕は強くなるために父の喋り方を真似し、癖を模倣し、好きな音楽まで習った。でも魂まで真似できなかった。弱い自分のままだ。
譲り葉先輩、
こんな私を好きになってくれてありがとう。
ありがとう。
Yeah, and where do I even start at that? Like, you know, if you want to talk about the game making me look stupid, I said at the beginning, like, I said, like, at the end of chapter 2 there when, yeah, at the end of chapter 2 there, that Ringo, like, showing up in Ichigo's place was weird, and, like, we never got an explanation, so I should have, like, looking back on it, I should have remained suspicious, you know? Because it was never explained or even revisited, you know? I guess you could write away the animosity, the supposed animosity between them, as, like, you know, like, attributed to that, like, it was some sort of, like, one twin going behind the other's back or some sort of betrayal, but like no, they were in on it. Like, and of course they like you can't talk about that without pointing out that this is the second time that they've done this, but and that's something that I pointed out too. Like, I just didn't think they would go that far. Yeah, but you know, you're right, David. Like yeah, they do kind of, both of them kind of have well, mostly Ichigo. Ringo in a way is like pure-hearted, but like yeah, you can definitely hold it against her for like letting that happen and definitely like intentionally like deceiving Yuzu. But she also did it. I didn't think it would like be this like long con, you know. And also I didn't think they would do it again. Like, I talked about them not trying to pull the wool over Suo's eyes in Volume 1, and like them learning their lesson because they could they found out they couldn't get away with it, so Suo was going to see right through it. But you know, with Yuzu, I kind of brought up the idea of like them like trying it on Yuzu, but I was not like expecting this, you know. Yeah, jeez. I was like, and obviously the craziest part about all this is that like it's happened before, and it's still insane when it gets revealed. Like, oh my gosh! Like, I want to criticize them for, you know, like, you know, basically, you know, tricking Yuzu into thinking she was dating someone else for an undetermined amount of time, but also, you know, Ringo's intentions were very, you know, Ringo actually gave up a lot. Like, obviously, and that's something that we can see, like her saying, like, you know, because of how bad Ichigo felt about it, and also like Ringo having to like accept her feelings in the end of like, you know, maybe it would have been easier for her to stay with Ringo, but I guess Yuzu felt it wouldn't have been right. And for Ringo to like accept that gracefully does take a very kind-hearted person in a way, and I think that also like does line up with her actions and like planning to switch places with Ichigo. Like, there's obviously the whole ethics of the situation, but she did have, like, you know, her own twin sister's best intentions at heart. Do you mean like how they like get embarrassed, or like their foundation that they're using? Because that is how they what's the word? They conceal them all. But yeah, I pointed it out, but I would never have guessed that that's what would have happened. You know, like that's what was really going on behind the scenes. Also because, okay, so yeah, I'll have to go back and look at it. It'll be fun to go back and see like the little hints that the game gives you. But I'm gonna say something else. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. Like, it doesn't explain, like, it's they say that the time frame of when they swapped places was kind of ambiguous, so like it doesn't really say like when, you know, something fell off, or like at what point like Yuzu felt like she was actually not dating Ringo anymore. But yeah, I mean, there's that. I do really like that initial scene, that identity crisis. It's kind of the idea. There's a very painful irony to that first scene, though, because, you know, it is Ringo in that first scene. I do believe it. Maybe. Yeah, because it was her, because like it's not. I do believe like at first like Yuzu started dating Ringo, and then like the plan to switch came later. But like there's a painful irony in Ringo saying, like, you know, she wants to develop her own identity because she's always going down to the level of sister, and ended up roping her into this whole mess by the end of it anyway. So that's rough. Anyway, should we keep going? Like, if we keep going, I honestly don't know where to stop, because, like, well, one, I don't know how many scenes are left, and two, like, I imagine these scenes are gonna be pretty, like, tough. That was hard to watch, like, just like, from an emotional standpoint. But I don't know how much more of that we're gonna have to sort of get through, and also I'm probably gonna have to I can have a lot of thoughts when this game is over, so I imagine we're gonna have to save that for another day. But maybe like we can get through this scene however long it takes and wrap it up like next week, you know, because my poor heart can't handle that whirlwind of emotions, and I imagine we're kind of only halfway through. Also, there was one more thing I was going to say, but oh yeah, I thought that scene was going to go like kind of a little bit classic, like falling, like end of relationships type stuff, where there's this mutual understanding that, oh, you know, they realize they're not good for each other. Ringo obviously knew that, Yuji still had feelings for Narine. So, like, I thought, you know, Yuji was going to lead into it, and then Ringo was going to say, let's break up. I mean, there was that mutual understanding there, which is like, yeah, good job, Ringo, she figured it out, but it took a completely different turn. Alright, we're going to keep going. I just gotta collect myself. Alright, let's go. But honestly, if Yuzu is going to follow her heart, and like, if that means what I think it means, she has some real, she must know something that we don't, or she does know Narine better than she lets on up until this point, if she thinks that Narine is going to accept her after so brutally rejecting her in chapter 4. Either that, or maybe what she means is she just needs to like come clean completely. I don't know.
雪が降ってもおかしくないんだ。当たり前だな。タイムリミットが近づいている。
Or maybe she's not talking about Narine at all, she's talking about... Okay, she is. I thought maybe she was alluding to, like, Suo or something getting a...
「これはオズの魔法使いだね」
ええ、二人の思い出の本。
I see what you did there, book double entendre, since the word had a different meaning back it. Long time ago, I suppose, when that book was written. I think Narine kind of shares that sentiment. She she refers to the Wizard of Oz as like the book that they obsessed over when they were kids, like kind of implying that they should move past such childish attachments or something to that effect, but we don't really get her thoughts on it beyond that. Whereas Yuzu, of course, is still like kind of uses that as a pretty obvious reference point, you know?
萩原さんはちゃんとエスコートしてきたかしら。
王子はいないが、お城には案内してきたよ。今朝方、きちんと私と向き合ってもらえるよ。逃げ続けられ、きちんと話してくれるよう対話できたのは今日だものな。
譲りは？
もちろん萩原君におかしなことをしていないよ。きちんとエスコートしたさ。
What do you mean? Did I go like... I could stream like that, it would be a pretty uncomfortable position for me though. Oh, you're talking about the conversation happened off screen. Yeah, I feel a little robbed too.
ならいいのだけど。
部屋を変わることで仲直りしてくれるなら、3日だって1週間だって変わるってね。
そう。ごめんなさい。私のせいね。
Yeah, sorry about that misunderstanding. Yeah, I guess we're getting to the real meat of it right now, though.
そのことは今朝方、君が謝ってくれたことで決着がついた。
理由も聞かずに許すの？
美しい女性に訳を聞くのは野暮ってものだよ。
Sorry. I set the delay. It's a little better now, but still not great. It's like at mystery solving level, but that is still definitely a delay.
I 暑いから気をつけて。
ありがとう。
美味しいね。僕が引いたのとはわけが違う。
ゆずりはが入れてくれたコーヒーも美味しいわ。久しぶりね。パジャマパーティーをするなんて。
ああ、1 1年生の折はみんなを集めてよく開いた。でも二階屋の会のメンバーになることが決まって、
規則を守らせる立場の者が破るのはいけないと自然と立ち見えてしまった。
ネリネのことも。
譲りは
僕は今までたくさんのことを諦め取捨選択していった。弱い僕自身を捨てネリーを守れる強い自分を獲得し、君とずっと一緒にいられるために洗礼を受けた。
譲りは
そんな顔しなくていい。選んだのは僕だ。だが二階屋の会の会長となったのも選挙に出ると言った君の言葉があったからだ。今話したのは僕が捨ててきたものだ。自分から望んで選んできたもの。後悔はしてない。
私があなたを変えさせてしまった。
ああ、だがさっきも言ったが後悔なんてちりほどもしていない。なぜなら僕にとって己を変えるほど捨てるのを厭わないほどに君が好きなんだ。改めて告白させてくれ。僕はコミカドネリネが好きだ。
私も私も譲り葉のことが好きよ。
もう一度言うよ。友愛だとか博愛だとかの好きじゃない。僕はコミカドネリネを愛している。
でもあなたは佐々木りんごさんとお付き合いしている。
別れたよ。リンゴとは別れた。
譲り葉、あなたは私のことを慕って 幼い頃内気だった自分を救ってくれたと本に感じてくれているけれど、本当はそれは優しいおとぎ話のようなお話ではないの。幼い頃の私は傲慢だった。
それは
私についてくるあなたのことを友人と思うよりも、何でも言うことを聞く愛玩動物のように扱っていた。私が何を頼んでも受け入れてくれたから。何でも言う通りにするのが嬉しくて、私はあなたに洗礼を受けるよう仕向けた。自分で選んだと譲りは言ったけど、私がそう仕向けたのよ。私の傲慢から洗礼を受けさせたすぐ後、あなたのお母さんのお見舞いをして、あなたのお母さんは私の汚れた心を見抜いていたの。本当は譲り葉を友達とは思っていないのでしょうって。今が嘘でもいい。でもお願いです。どうかどうか、あの子と譲り葉と私の代わりにずっと一緒にいてあげてください。
You know, since like Narine became sick after that, and like she had time to reflect on like how she, I guess, was as a person. I kind of had a feeling that that her mom said something to that effect. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about it right now. Yeah, I mean, I think it changed Narine for the better, you know? She's able to see, like, okay, you know, I should see her as a friend and not, or I guess, you know, not just as a friend or whatever, but like as a person first and foremost, you know? I guess if anyone needed a wake-up call like that, it was her.
その後、私は病にかかって、約束通りずっと一緒に守ろうと決めていたけれど、私の方が
許せる間違いはいくつもある。だが許せない過ちもあるんだ。こいつは許せる方の過ちだよ。母が亡くなったのは今みたいな冬の時期だった。 この空気が冬の匂いだ。この空気が今も私に母を思い出させてくれる。季節が巡るたび母に会える。だから何も寂しくなんかない。母は最後の一語文をあえて口に出さないような喋り方をした。ここの病院の先生は名医よ。
Sorry, I keep cutting off the voice lines at the most inopportune part.
母は最後の一語文をあえて口に出さないような喋り方をした。ここの病院の先生は名医よ。だけど治せない病もある。といった風にね。ネリーに告げた言葉もきっと最後の言葉の後で本当の友達になってあげて、そう付け加えられるはずだった。
譲り合う。
始まりは確かにからかいや同情が含まれていただろう。でも今でもそうなのか？
違う
今話したのはコミカドネリネにとっての真実だが、私の真実はそうじゃない。
でもそれは騙して。
私にとってコミカドネリネは出会った頃から変わらない憧れだよ。一番の親友だ。そして愛すべき人でもある。
私を許すというの？
ずっとネリーが王能に苦しめられていたのは知っていた。僕にだけは心を開いてほしい。
もう少しだけ時間が欲しいの。
分かった。ノエルまで待つよ。待つのには慣れている。
I'm thinking, yeah, like, man, just to sort of wrap that up. Okay, so I was doubting like we would get any of that, but we actually, with that scene, we actually touched on a lot of stuff that I talked about. Like, does Yuzu know like sort of Narine's true intentions when they first met? And has she just like been keeping that like from us? Like, is she just selectively keeping that out of her thoughts when she talks about it? The answer to that is yes, she knew, and yet she still. I guess she sees more good in Narine than Narine sees in herself, you know? Like, she believes that Narine is capable of change more than, like, whereas Narine is still stuck in her past, and, like, the regret over how she treated Yuzu and manipulated her, basically. But ultimately, I think, I guess in this case, if she has Yuzu to help her along there, she'll be able to, like, finally start to move on. ideally. So I'm glad that in a way I got what I wanted. Like that was sort of like a question that's been nagging at me for like the entire game, basically. Well, not the entire game, but since the halfway point, since Narune admitted to kind of like approaching their relationship the way she did. I mean, on the other hand, Narune saying that she needs a little bit of time. Well, that means there's more time to just like kind of swoop in and like for some circumstance to kind of take this all away from them, you know, because if this was volume 2 or whatever, then this is where the game probably would have ended, or we would have gotten like the good ending. It's, you know, not the true ending, but the good ending. But there's a little bit more, and I'm kind of getting that sickening feeling, that like twisting in the pit of your stomach that I got at the end of volume 1, where like her having finally achieved happiness for a little bit. I mean, she did a good job. She did a good job of like making me question it, you know, because she like has claimed up to this point that you know, like she doesn't really have a sense of self, and like her feelings for Narune, like Narune being by her side is like the only thing that gets her through. So I wondered if she idolized her and like not seeing her, like in the process didn't see her faults. But I guess it was a little bit of both. She did idolize her, but like despite her faults, still loves her. I think that's a very I think that's honestly like sickeningly sweet. I do like that thing, and kind of thing. Admittedly, the idea of like loving someone despite their faults, like that feels like a very pure form of love. I think, like seeming like knowing like a person, like having seen their ugly side or whatever it is, and like loving them anyway. I think that is a very, you know, like a very sweet idea. I think that's kind of what Yuzu is trying to get across. But yeah, as far as Narune goes, she didn't really explain why she rejected Yuzu in the chapel, but I feel like we can probably conclude at this point that it was the result of like, oh, you know, Christian values or whatever, that kind of thing, given how she looks up at the image of Christ in the chapel after that happens. But yeah, we just went through an entire whirlpool of emotions here, and I need to sit back and kind of think about it. And also Yuzu has kind of like gotten the like a sliver of the happiness that she wanted. She's been able to confess properly, and Narune has like come clean to her in return. So let's let her have this, albeit however temporary it is. You know, just for now. I want to hold on to it as well. I don't want to just have that stripped away from me right away. Because, you know, she deserves it. So yeah, let's wrap up for today. We got our I kind of got the catharsis that I wanted, and like knowing that there's still more in store, it's just like, oh man, what how are they gonna pull the rug out from under us this time, you know? And I have a feeling it involves exactly what you were saying, the thing that the secret that she's hiding from Suo. Like Suo implied that like it's related to it's related to Narune, like kind of indirectly, or the secret that she has. You know, it is at least related to Mayuri, but maybe also kind of connected to Narune in a sense. So we'll talk about that more, obviously, when we get there. I would never, and of course I would never just call it here like that. That would just be disingenuous, and of course then I would be ill-equipped to go into the final game without knowing what really happened. So it would be a little bit cowardly to back out now, and since Yuzu has finally like confronted this world of emotions inside of herself, I think we owe it to her to do the same thing, you know? So yeah, thanks for dropping by, both of you. I'm probably going to stream on Tuesday, since the long weekend's coming up. Doing stuff. We're gonna be busy schedules, you know, a little bit. I usually don't stream on weekends anyway, and since Monday's a holiday, that means Tuesday is the earliest day I can do it. So we're probably going to wrap up on Thursday, on Tuesday. So yeah, around this time, 2 p.m. Pacific time, maybe a little bit later. And that is usually when I like to stream. So yeah, I'm sure we will have all sorts of thoughts. Yeah. All right. Thanks both of you again, and hope to see you next week. All right. Catch you later.